He said, I had a 20-year period where I only had 5 people quit to go work somewhere else.
But it's the mindset and the emphasis and the fact that it's built into the system, it sounds like, with regular interviews, regular touch points, and so it constantly gets updated.
When I saw customer-driven leadership, it's like I'd found the Holy Grail. I break systems for a living.
Hello, and welcome to the Liberty Spenders podcast. We are Kurt and Kristen Luidhardt, your hosts, co-founders of the Prosper Group, an agency that's helped raise over $500 million and help elect over 100 members of Congress, 15 governors, 15 U.S. senators, and 1 president. And now, in addition to helping political candidates get elected, we're helping your business get elected by answering this question. What if you could exponentially grow your business by tapping into a lucrative and engaged audience that we call Liberty Spenders? Now, Liberty Spenders make up 76.5 million consumers. They're Christian and conservative consumers, and they're looking to buy from businesses and brands that align with their values. If you want to learn more about this, you can get access to our new best-selling book at libertyspenders.com/free.
So our guest today is Daniel Hammond, and I'm actually excited. We're on the interview side of this particular show because Daniel Hammond is an expert interrogation instructor and problem solver who helps entrepreneurs now tackle challenges with ease. His sharp questions uncover root issues, offering quick, low-risk solutions for big results. He's co-author of Customer-Driven Leadership Legacy Edition and Implementation Guidebook with Dr. Ted Anders. He champions a system that empowers teams to serve customers better. He's a passionate collaborator and connects ethical entrepreneurs to amplify their impact and build a better world. Now, that's all the business side, but how I was introduced is you are an absolute interrogation expert and have in your previous roles done some really high stakes interrogations internationally. So I am really happy. I didn't face you in that environment. So
first of all, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your career. We're very fascinated with your background. You've interrogated senior leaders in Iraq. You've worked with top officials across 4 countries. That's some high pressure stuff. Talk about how you got into that and how that's led you to where you are now.
Yeah. Thanks, Kurt. I really started, I just lived my life. You don't really digest it, in real time. But when I became an entrepreneur in 2019 and I was trying to explain and understand my value in the marketplace, I went through a lot of, kind of deep work on how do I serve people? And, I started off, as a restaurant manager at Little Caesars. And, to say I learned, I went from assistant manager trainee to assistant manager in 2 weeks to co-manager by 2 months, had my own store in 4 months, was a training manager in 10 months. And the next step up was district supervisor. And I'm 22 years old. So, there's no, they weren't going to offer me that position anytime soon. And I was working 60 plus hours a week. And so, I was looking for opportunities with some career growth, as well as, I tend to grow until I get stuck. And, so I wanted to not have that, and I wanted to have more time off. And so, I joined the Army, which not many people.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I get the growth part, but I mean, my goodness.
Yeah. So I, asked, what's the hardest thing to qualify for? And they said signals intelligence collector. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And they said, we have an option where you can learn Spanish instead of a random language and jump out of airplanes. And I said, yep, that'll be the option that I go for. So I was active duty for 4 years, and I did a year and a half of school and 2.5 years in the 82nd Airborne Division. And then really coming out of that, I had a son. My first marriage didn't survive my enlistment, which is unfortunately far too typical. and needed to be closer to my son as he was growing up. So I got out of the Army and I went into the Army Reserves. And the day I showed up at my new unit, they said, "Your position just went away. Do you want to become an interrogator?" And I said, "That sounds like fun. Let's do that." And so I went through interrogation school. When I graduated, they handed me my diploma and said, "You're really good at this. You should be teaching." And so I transferred into the unit and I started teaching interrogation. And then I got deployed in 2003 and 4. And if you've ever seen Iraq's Most Wanted playing cards with all of the most wanted in Iraq, I ended up talking to some of those people, and I had 2 kings assigned to me, so 2 top 10 sources, including when I was there, I was interrogating a lot of interesting people across people in Parliament, secretaries, ministers, minister level people, ambassadors, military, intelligence, insurgents. But I didn't really have anybody. Actually, there's a professional assassin too, I guess. I didn't really have anybody that I was like, so I prayed one day and I said, "God, I didn't really want to come to Iraq. Can I at least have somebody that I could see? Am I as good of an interrogator as I think I am?" And 2 days later, they caught Chemical Ali, who was the 5th most wanted person in Iraq. We thought we had killed him in a strike. So it's like back from the dead and assigned to me. And I got to interrogate him for 6 months. And he told me everything. We reached a rapport. People think interrogation is kind of the movie stuff. It's not. It's about finding common ground with people. And, there are some tactics that are scarier, I guess, than others, but everything is Geneva compliant. When I left, I had a real successful relationship in that I got the information the United States government sent me to get, and built a relationship where he wrote, this is a character reference I keep on my back wall, where somebody I was responsible for interrogating called me an army of one and said that I was like an army of one by my influence over others, and that he hoped that we could work together to build our countries, Iraq and the United States of America. And he asked God's blessings on me and my family.
Yeah, because that's not the mental picture I get, right? I'm like Hollywood movie. When you say interrogator, I'm picturing you, big bright light, and they're sweating underneath there, and maybe there's a good cop, bad cop going on, and and so what you're saying is that it's really more, you're trying to get to almost like a friend to friend kind of communication.
Yeah, and again, I don't know that we would ever be considered friends, and it's interesting because in an attempt to manipulate, people try to build relationships as well. And so, when it started off, that was one of the things, he was trying to play me as much as I was trying to, work with him. And so, I set boundaries and I was like, "Hey, I'm here to work. If you do this and I'll do this, we'll have a good working relationship. But, I'm not here to be, your best friend or, so, and I think being honest, really set a unique collaboration. And it was interesting in that, I just came back last weekend from visiting a friend of mine who I worked for over in Iraq. And, we walked into the camp one day together, and, there was a prisoner, and he got the attention of another prisoner next to him. And he was like, "Oh, hey." And they both started waving at me. And my boss was like, why are prisoners waving at an interrogator walking into the camp?
What's up? Hey, Dan the man. Hey.
And so he asked, "Who are those guys?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't know who they are. But my reputation was such that the camp knew who I was. And so really, if you cultivate that reputation of doing what you say, even to the people that, maybe other people wouldn't do the right thing for, you can really make a huge difference in wherever you go.
Yeah. Well, I know that's led to you advising four different a cabinet level folks in 4 different countries, 5 different roles. That's a big, wide range of perspectives. How did that experience advance the way you look at entrepreneurs' business challenges? Were you picking up little tidbits as you worked with world leaders? How did that work for you?
Yeah, really, every single time was more I was there serving in some capacity and had some opportunity to serve cabinet level officials. So, in Iraq, I was interrogating them. When I got back from Iraq, I started teaching interrogation as a contractor, first at the basic level. And then, they started pushing a lot of people through, and the standards started to come to a place where I'm like, I'm not comfortable passing people through who can't do the job. So this is going to be a problem. So I started looking for another opportunity, and I got to help create an advanced interrogation and analysis course. How can an interrogator and an analyst team work together to get all the information and put together the big picture for leadership? And I did a lot of the scenario design. So building, complex scenarios, for that, which comes into my later business life. Then I quit my job and moved to Honduras to get married. And I found the love of my life in Honduras and moved down there, helped her with our entrepreneurial journey. She was already a successful entrepreneur in textiles. And then we got home invaded at some point. Guns at our kids' heads. Give us all your stuff.
Oh, my.
Do not recommend that. But
oh my goodness,
we managed.
I was not expecting that. I'm all like, yay, he found the love of his life and home invaded. What? It took me a minute to make sure I heard that correctly. Yeah, had kind of a late reaction there.
No, it is not something that everybody should go through. I'm happy to be fairly unique, I hope, in that. Although there's plenty of darkness happening all over the world, and that's one of my passions, is to battle against that. But I ended up meeting a guy who owned a physical security company, and we became friends. And he came over to tell me all the mistakes I'd made in my security. He walked around my house, and he's like, "Holy cow, this is a fortress!" And I was like, "Yeah, but if workers leave my gate wide open and the gate guards don't stop them at the neighborhood, what can you do?"
Oh, goodness.
6 months later, he came over and we had started working together, and he's like, "Hey, my company's bleeding money. Do you think you can figure out what's going on?" And I said, "I don't know. Now let's find out." So he had 435 employees. And I said, "I think to figure it out, you'll have to put me in charge." And he's like, "I'm okay with that." So I ended up running his company. And so I got to work with the Minister of Security, ex-Minister of Security for Honduras to protect some critical infrastructure on the island of Roatan.
Did you figure out the issue? He said he was.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I did a lot of revamping, rebalancing the company. They were absorbing too many expenses when they onboarded new clients. So that was pushing them further into debt. I found about $1 million of hidden debt that the owner was unaware of, and started paying off personal loans. Created new revenue streams like this quick reaction force to protect critical infrastructure, wrote some security assessments for some major clients. And so, really it was doing well, given where it was, after about 3 months. Unfortunately, the president of Honduras raised minimum wage 69.5% retroactively. And I was just like, I can't save your company now. So, he was part of the Hugo Chavez, how to run a country, plan. And, that doesn't work very well for entrepreneurs.
Well, and the reason I asked is because, I imagine with your skill set, and your experience, you're trying to get, obviously you were mentioning trying to get intelligence, but you're trying to get to potentially the root cause of an issue, or you're trying to whittle away layers of things to get to an answer or an outcome. And so I'm wondering, what's the biggest mistake now you see with entrepreneurs making when they get stuck, or how are you able to use those interrogation skills to help them get past, whatever hurdle they're facing, to help them get to that outcome or discover the root of a problem?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. I toward the end of my journey, where I am now, I really figured out that I can figure out root causes of stuff, incredibly fast. Like, I offered a 20-minute service of bring me your most complicated business problem, and I'll just interrogate it down into solvable pieces in 20 minutes or less. And that's been a lot of fun. I like to solve it down to the place where they have the resources to solve the problem, right? So that it becomes manageable. And so that's one of the ways that I've been leveraging what I do. It's certainly, my mom has a PhD in biochemistry. I'm a college dropout. My dad did training and development. And so, I'm good with people and good with systems. My hobby is board gaming. I love to learn the rules to new games. I have over 750 board games. And
oh my!
Some of them are insanely complex. Like take the longest we played 4 to 6 hours a week for 18 months to finish a World War II simulation.
My younger brother's a big board game person, and it's fascinating how he can remember, right, the rules to all these things. And so you must, I take it then you enjoy strategy, right? Which you would need to, right? You need to think ahead. You need to have a plan, right? And to shift, to be adaptable. Oh, I saw the eyes raised there. Yeah. Is there a story?
So as more information comes in, the blueprints update themselves to find new, better, more efficient paths. So, and to kind of bring it back to the business leaders that I help is I always start off with, either where are you stuck or where are you trying to go? Right. And that helps me understand, I don't want to come in and make assumptions about what you're trying to accomplish. I want to really dig in and hear what that long-term vision is that they have for their company. And I also want to hear some component of how their company is making the world a better place, either through serving their communities or global influence.
Absolutely. Well, and if you've got this knack for, asking tough questions or getting right to the point, I imagine obviously that's a skill set a lot of people can utilize. Maybe they're having to have tough conversations and they don't know, how to do it, how to keep people from getting defensive, right? I mean, there's all kinds of trainings and things that people invest in to learn that skill. So tell us a little bit more about how you help build trust. Even with your clients, with the entrepreneurs, so that they're actually open enough to tell you about what's going on, especially if you're trying to uncover problems and to help figure out the solution.
I find that transparency, honesty, authenticity make all the difference. I'm also I don't know if you can see, but I have on my shirt from a ministry that I work in called Christ Restoration Center Ministries. And we do inner healing, and I've gotten so much value out of that that I just, truly, my goal is to become a better servant every day, more equipped to help people. And if let's say you're the owner of a business or the visionary leader of an entrepreneurial business, there's some internal struggle typically within your team. You have big visions, and then you've got people on your team that try to make it real and make it happen. And, I happen to be a visionary, but also a kind of an implementer. So I see both sides of it. And I love to come into organizations and help sort out, kind of be the linguist talking visionary, okay, when the visionary says this is what the outcome that he wants to have, being able to speak in it and kind of, maybe being a marriage counselor between those two roles, the CEO.
I was going to call it business translator. If you're a translator, when he says this is what he wants you to do.
And I can do it the other way too, where I can say, hey, your integrator is frustrated because you're throwing 50 ideas at him a day and he doesn't know what to take action on. So, I have a friend, that's sort of he's an internet legend, I guess. He invented the like button, and he called me a bounce head, and that was extremely helpful. because he says I can sort, like as fast as he can think as a visionary leader, I can keep up. And so, and I can also see, well, okay, you gave me 10 ideas and 7 of them aren't going to take you where you want to go. Let's look at the 3 that might get you where you want to go in more detail. Let's suss these out. And, 6 months later, when he has another idea, I can go, by itself, that doesn't make sense. But, this idea you had 6 months ago linked up with this thing could be something worth investing time and money in.
Well, let's talk about your book, Customer-Driven Leadership. It sounds like an extremely valuable book for businesses to read. So walk us through it. And I'm curious, what is the idea that sparked you wanting to write the book?
Sure. I think I always thought I could write a book, but I never had the story to tell. And, I'll go a little bit into what led to it. My wife and I agreed to build a nursing school in central Honduras, and we didn't have the resources, and we had no idea what that was going to look like when we said yes to God on that. But God just brought us the resources, the people. We built a board. We found, everything we needed just came to us, and we ended up raising $235,000 and building a modern facility down in central Honduras that really helped get medical training, of which there was not sufficient, throughout the whole region. As the nurses came in and went back to their towns and villages, they were effectively the town doctor for 3 or 4 villages all around them.
Hey, business owners, did you know there's 76.5 million faith-based and conservative consumers that are looking to support brands that align with their values?
That's a $5 trillion opportunity, and if you're not tapping into it, you're leaving money on the table. Our new book, Liberty Spenders, is your ultimate guide to reaching this influential audience using conviction-driven marketing.
That's right. We break down real-world strategies that successful brands are using right now to connect with this audience authentically, build trust, and drive long-term business growth.
So if you're truly serious about standing out in today's crowded market, grab your copy today on Amazon or visit libertyspenders.com. And don't miss out on this revolutionary strategy called conviction-driven marketing.
Part of the leadership team was Dr. Ted Anders, and his parents had a nonprofit that we did all our work under. His dad was a minister, and we ended up building a real relationship. And at the end of the project, we were thinking, what can we do next? How can we continue to serve this community that we love? And we started working with the Episcopal Bishop of Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. And we knew we were going to have to raise funds. And so Ted said, why don't you come look at my systems and tell me what you think? And so when I saw customer-driven leadership, it's like I'd found the Holy Grail. I break systems for a living. That's what I do. And I just saw it as incredibly robust. When you disrupt it, it has mechanisms in place that the problems solve themselves in a way that makes the business better and better serve the customers. And so I said, Ted, this is genius. And he had sort of retired. And I said, the world needs this. How can we get this out to the world? And he goes, co-author the second edition of my book, which it's been around for its 30th anniversary this year. So we called it the Legacy Edition. And I coaxed Ted out of retirement, and we work on helping businesses grow. And then, if you want, I can go a little bit into the details of how it works.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating, this exponential operating system. So yeah, talk about that. What's it about?
Yeah, so there's some operating systems out there that are basically, this is our system, fit your company into our system, run our processes, and we run your business. CDL is the opposite. We go in and we say, how do all of the functions within your business serve each other for the good of the client? And then we empower each function. We give them, hey, these are your responsibilities. And within this framework, you solve your own problems, and if if you can't solve it within the limitations that you have, then you escalate it and we'll bring in the resources you need to solve it. And so what it does is it empowers every single part of the company to get better and better, at serving each other. So if I'm running one team and Kurt, you're running another team, I might come up to you and say, hey, Kurt, what's the one thing my team can deliver for you that'll make your ability to deliver for the client better, easier, cheaper, more efficient? And so you set that, and that's called a care about. Now my team is working for you to try to deliver on that care about. So it's like I'm my own little company working to serve Kurt and his team and his function. And then maybe also, I work with Kristen on doing something else. And so I might have a second care about making sure that Kristen gets what she needs. And then also we're having that conversation throughout the entire company, all the way to the clients. We're even going to our customers and going, what's the one thing that if we deliver this for you every time, you'll never look for somebody else that does what we do? So completely changes the culture. And we do assessments every single month. And when the people grow the company, I like to say the leader sets the vision for the company they want to run. And then that's what everybody's building for. And the employees are even empowered enough to tell the top of the company, we shouldn't do that because that's against our mission or our values. So like anyone is empowered to basically call out, hey, we're not doing what we say we're supposed to be doing.
So I can understand the concept, but can you give us an example, practical example of, okay, this is what happened and this is the shift, or, so that anybody listening can really picture this in their mind? Yeah.
So Ted's traveled all over the world, installing customer-driven leadership for over 20 years. And the path is very predictable. There's usually, it's a year-long implementation process, but it's really, your culture is adapting and it's customized, right? It's not like I'm selling an out-of-the-box solution for everybody, right? But once your company is up and running this, it begins to run itself. It just becomes part of your culture. And, so Ted's first client of CDL is still running this. He started with a company of 7 employees. They invested $125,000 in customer driven leadership 30 years ago. And, I interviewed the CEO for 3.5 hours before I decided I'd write the book, just doing my due diligence. And some of the stories that he shared are things like, I had a 20-year period. He has over 300 employees now. He said, I had a 20-year period where I only had 5 people quit to go work somewhere else with hundreds of employees. He's now making more than $1 million of revenue per employee, regardless of their role. So the janitor, the receptionist, the engineers, every single employee is bringing in over $1 million revenue total for the company. And so, he says people will quit, they'll retire, when they're done, they'll die here, but nobody wants to go work someplace else. So that's the kind of culture a CDL environment brings.
Right. Well, yeah, I can see that because, you're talking about the benefit. I mean, just by the name itself, right? You're thinking, oh, okay, got it. Like we're focused on the end customer. But I can see the mindset, right? With even internally, and there's a lot of, kind of operating methods and things like this that talk about this, where you think about your internal customer, right? So people within the company in each department. And so I imagine, right, it's that not even trickle down effect, but it's the mindset and the emphasis and the fact that it's built into the system. It sounds like with regular interviews, regular touch points. And so it constantly gets updated, as the business grows or the needs shift or, the market determines a change. And so that's an amazing story.
You get this. I'm gonna hire you and make you an implementer.
Company culture is my thing. It's my
That's
jam.
her passion. Yeah.
I love it, which is why I said before we aired, I've been so excited to talk, but also, I mean, for your background, that's just cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think this concept is really valuable for a lot of people.
And a lot of our listeners are scrappy entrepreneurs working with tight budgets. Is this something that, any company can implement? Is this, you mentioned the one company spent about $125,000 implementing it, which is, a small price to pay to generate $1 million per employee for 100 employees, right? But
correct.
How does it work for any company, like a small business?
Yeah. Well, my partner and I, are very entrepreneurial. So, if there's a way and it's the right fit, because not every company is the right fit, right? You've got to have that servant leader at the top, right? Somebody who's willing to surrender control. Because effectively we invert the hierarchy of the organization, and the person who was at the top is now at the bottom serving everybody above them. And so you're held accountable by everybody in the company. And so, you get to a place where, we ran it with a dental office, a couple of years ago, and we went in there and they had 5 employees. Everything was on fire all the time. Nobody got any rest. Everybody was frustrated. As we started to bring in the concepts of customer driven leadership, we had 4. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to do this. And we had a 5th person that was like, nope, not interested. Mm. And so it turned out that 5th person was the person who was not doing their job that caused everybody else stress all day.
Yep. Yep.
So,
weed them right out.
Yeah. Even before we started implementing, that person left and the job got easier, but also they didn't have any systems in place. And so CDL systematized their organization so much so that 2 months later, when the receptionist quit, the office manager and the hygienist told the entrepreneur, hey, we know what she does and her responsibilities, and we can seamlessly cover down on those. So let's not rush to refill that position. Let's just move forward. And so now they've got 3 people running the office smoothly, whereas 5 people, it was a total nightmare. And, that summer, the entrepreneur had made so much additional money that he paid for, vacations in Colombia for the 2 employees. He sent them to Colombia, all expenses paid. And last I talked to him, when we got there, they were averaging about 30,000 in revenue. And so now 2 years later, he had just had 138,000 revenue month and 140,000 revenue month after running CDL for 2 years. And he was still under 5 employees. He had 4 full-time and 1 part-time employee. Well,
and I was going to say the short answer is buy the book.
Right.
Is there an affordable way to do it? Buy the book. Step 1.
Yes, I usually put the book in the shop, but I left it in the office. I have the book here, but and we'll definitely link to it for those who are listening and want to buy it. So you'll see it. Check it out in the show notes for folks.
It's special, and if you really want to change the culture of your organization, just reach out to me on LinkedIn and tell me about CDL. I'm always happy to connect with somebody who's interested in that. And again, we're very entrepreneurial. We love to partner with coaches, who have the capability to manage the business stuff and the systems, because, that there's a lot of complexity on both sides. It's definitely not something that every coach is going to feel comfortable with, but, it's a fantastic, system, once you digest.
Well, and I love your emphasis, your reminder, hey, we're not the right fit for everybody. We're looking for servant leaders, because that's the whole concept. And it's like you said, it's not going to work. The buck stops, quite literally, and everyone else knows you're establishing this with that level of accountability.
Yeah. Well,
which can be scary for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Well, and again, we don't want to take people's money. CDL could destroy a company if you tried to run it non-ethically, because you can't tell people, hey, I'm empowering you, and then snatch that away. Right. You guys are all about liberty, right? It's horrible. It would just be, and we have assessments.
It'd be demoralizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. it's and the idea of really encouraging that kind of buy-in from folks. So, when we have that, it's the most satisfying thing as an employer. When I am seeing stuff happen and I think that had nothing to do with me. In fact, I might have done it differently and this is better, and those are the most satisfying moments, I think, as an owner.
Well, like you said, I didn't set out to write a book, but then once I started writing, I kept writing, and I've done some contributions on 4 other books besides the 2 that I led the writing on. And
wow. So how many total books? You have the one you wrote, the one we've been talking about, and did you say 4 others?
Yeah. So there's Customer Driven Leadership Legacy edition, which is what I recommend if somebody's interested in reading. There's also an implementation guidebook, which is sort of a step-by-step, the things we do to implement. I wouldn't recommend buying that unless you were going to try to self-implement. I'm just going to be honest, there's a lot of complexity in CDL. But again, if you just need some help, again, reach out to me. We were excited to see businesses running CDL. A lot of the people that, Ted worked with, were a lot of people who scaled their business 10x in, 3 years and then sold it. You start really disrupting your market. But I love how CDL works with legacy focused, entrepreneurs that aren't interested in selling. They're just interested in providing better service to their customers, maybe even generationally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we hit on this earlier, and I feel like this time in Honduras, between the fact that you met your wife and the love of your life, and moved to Honduras. Plus, you mentioned the home invasion, but that seems like a big. What was that 5.5 years life like? What was something you learned there? Tell us a little bit more about how that impacted who you are today.
Yeah. I guess one thing I would say is I'm highly adaptable. Whether you're throwing me in to interrogate people on weapons of mass destruction that I don't have the degrees to really understand, or whatever I do, I just digest complexity. And so I just grew comfortable. I love the people of Honduras. My son came down to live with us, and my wife had a daughter. So, instant family. There was a lot of cats and dogs stuff, for the kids. My son didn't speak Spanish when he got there. When he left 3 years later, he did speak Spanish. So, that's hugely game changing. And I just got to, learn what my wife does. Really, my wife is my mentor in entrepreneurship. Just seeing her run her business, in a country where, it's a poor country. I mean, I saw a statistic that said if you made $1,500 a month, in total, you are at the 1/2 of 1% of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of poverty, but there's also just a lot of really great people. I've done mission trips with my church, to, Honduras and Nicaragua. And I've gone with the John Maxwell team to, Dominican Republic to do some of his programs there. So really, I just love the Latin, people, and really enjoyed my time there. And I have a passion for, helping them break free from some of the, just poverty and oppression there.
Well, I think that's actually a great caveat for us to get into our lightning round. We like to ask everyone the same 3 questions at the end. And I feel like some of what you're talking about there is a good lead into our first question we like to ask is, what legacy are you looking to leave behind from your work?
Certainly my focus is helping 1,000 entrepreneurs make the world a better place. So it's really, I don't really care if I get any credit, but I want to know that I've significantly changed, entrepreneurial futures, because I think entrepreneurs touch so many lives with their business and how they serve people, that if I can help the entrepreneurs dream bigger and have greater success, it really makes a positive impact in kind of pushing back the darkness of the things that are, not right in the world.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's very similar to what's motivating us here in this kind of second half of our business career. It's wonderful to help elect a lot of politicians, which we've done, but it feels like it's the entrepreneurs who are going to make the difference. And so I'm going to cheer you on, and you're 1,000 entrepreneurs. Maybe we'll make it 5,000.
I need
they're
somebody
solving
to
problems. They're innovating.
That's right. I need somebody to up-level me. You guys would be my interrogation team.
Yeah, 1,000. Yeah. Let's go, man.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's scale you.
Yeah.
You're helping everybody else scale.
Love it.
Yeah. That's fascinating. And we also like to give people an opportunity to dive into a topic that's maybe a little off topic. What's something that's captured your attention lately? Maybe it's a hobby, a great book, something that you've really dove into.
Yeah, I think I'd like to go back to the inner healing work I do. Really seeing how, first of all, getting curious. I've been a Christian since I was 7, but I was really sitting on the bench, not doing much, and really seeing how when you go all in for God, and you do the hard work of, effectively, the inner healing ministry is sort of interrogating with the Holy Spirit, right? They're looking for stuff that's not aligned well with God and helping you let go of that. And it gives you more peace, more clarity around God's calling on your life. And so, I've prayed with murderers and prostitutes and the human trafficked and missionaries and ministers. So, I haven't seen anybody go, God didn't find anything where I need to work on. So, that's where I would encourage people to, just to explore how they can let go of some of the things that don't help them. And I mean, there's coaches out there that do stuff like that, but for me, I really love it in that, Christ-focused environment.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And then for some of these entrepreneurs, maybe one of the 1,000 who are listening today, who should reach out to you? What's the reason? What's the reason they should reach out? What are you going to do for them? How should they get a hold of you?
So for business interrogation, I would say, if you're making a change in your business and you want somebody who can kind of see a little bit down the road and see from an outside perspective of some of the challenges that you'll get in, I highly recommend reaching out. I love collaborations, and I think one of the problems with collaborations is, if let's say you've got 2 people collaborating, they both got a steering wheel and they start pulling different directions. I'm really good at helping take multiple stakeholders in a project and make sure that we hit the target where everybody wins. So would really love to be part of those things. If your business needs a refresh, I have a service called Break My Business Model, where I just, you tell me from end to end how you serve, and I'll just ask questions like, well, what if this happens? And what if a customer does this? How would you handle those things that get you thinking about, maybe where am I leaving some opportunities, hidden in my organization? And, maybe there's some inefficiencies that could be improved that would, make your business a more fun place to work and a more profitable place to work.
I love that. Break my business model. Oh
Yes.
man, that's gold.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely gold. Well, I absolutely loved this conversation, and thank you for joining. To get in touch with Daniel, if you're listening, hit him up on businessinterrogation.com. And you can also find his book, which we will post in the show notes. So you can purchase that there, and maybe we'll post some of the other books you contributed to as well.
You mentioned LinkedIn, so that's awesome. If you pay attention to that, then people can find you there as well.
I love to grow through LinkedIn. So yeah, just tell me where you heard me, and any friend of Kurt and Kristen's is an instant friend of mine.
It's good. Be one of the 1,000 people, or we're going to talk them into increasing that number.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining and sharing this, amazing wisdom. I can't wait to learn more because you've got a lot to share there. So really appreciate your time. And for those of you joining, thanks for tuning in. If you have found value in this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'd love a review. It helps more people find us so we can have an even greater impact. So thanks again. And until next time.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Liberty Spenders Podcast. If you're a business owner, we hope today's conversation gave you valuable insights on how to grow your business.
If you enjoyed the show, do us a favor. Hit like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. It really helps us reach more entrepreneurs and leaders like you who are ready to make an impact.
And write something flattering, because I read them all. Don't forget to grab your copy of Liberty Spenders too, available now on Amazon and at libertyspenders.com. It's packed with proven strategies to help you reach the 76.5 million consumers who are looking for brands that share their values.
We'll see you next time as we continue exploring how to grow your business with purpose and conviction.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode and the one after that.